Hello, and welcome to the UAWC Makerspace. Today, I will be showing you a brief tutorial on how to use the MakerBot Replicator 2X. Before we print a part, many people would like to select the color of filament that they would like to use. I will show you now how to place that filament into the printer. To start, on the menu, on the right side of the printer, you can go to Utilities. Under Utilities, the second line says Change Filament. Press the down arrow, and then press the Start icon. To unload the current filament, press Unload Right. If you are using a dual extrusion, then you would unload both the left and the right, which must be done separately. The printer is now preparing by heating its extruder. The extruder head must be heated to a required temperature before filament can be changed. So we must wait for that to happen. The printer is now ready to remove the previous filament. First, you want to take off the lid so that you can access the filament. And then slowly remove the filament from the extruder. It is important to remove it slowly so as to not leave behind clumps of spent plastic. If you look closely, you can see that I'm working some of those out as we speak. Once you've removed the prior filament, press M, and it will end the removal process. Use a pair of snips to remove any of the spent filament. This is to ensure a smooth operation next time the red-colored filament is used. Use caution when removing the filament from the tubing, as the filament can unwind if you're not careful. Make sure to pull the filament taut, and then place the filament in a position, working on it, through one of the pegs so it can maintain its tautness, like so. I've decided today to replace the red filament with a purple filament, seen here. Now it's important, when exchanging our filaments, to cut off a large end of the filament so that we don't get any bends or crooks or crinkly parts that we don't want. Use snips again to remove the part of the filament that is undesired. Back to the menu again, we must press another button to start the loading filament process. On the menu, it's the first option. Go to the Load Right and press the M button in the center. The musical tone indicates that it is prepared to receive new filament. Just like with unloading, you want to carefully load the new filament and place the filament through the tube instead of removing it from the tube. And then, instead of taking it out of the extruder, place it gently and slowly into the extruder. There's a mechanism within the printer that will actually latch onto the filament. So once you have it in there and you feel a tug, you can let go. Looking within the printer, you will begin to see your new filament extruding its way out. Once you see a significant amount of extruding, you can press the M button to cancel. The new filament is now loaded. We can now begin leveling the platform if necessary. Now we will begin to level the building plate. This procedure does not need done every single time a printing job is maneuvered. However, it should be done every 1 or 2 weeks. We start at the main menu and go down back to Utilities. Press the M in the center, and you see that the third option is Level Build Plate. The printer will begin, and it will prompt you as to what to do. Make sure to set a piece of paper or a piece of 2 papers on the build plate. The 0.1 or 0.2 millimeter size of the sheet of paper is useful for the leveling process. Press M, and it will give you instructions on each page. What we are going to do is allow for the extruder head to position itself to one of 3 places on the build plate. Once it's done that and it's stabilized, you will feel a knob directly underneath the build plate that you'll want to tighten by moving clockwise. Notice if you tighten it too much that when you pull out the paper, it will be very hard to move it. You want the paper to not be pliable, but not have too much friction. Be sure to tighten the knob so that the paper moves readily, but that friction is still present. We will now do that in the next position. This time, we'll be working with the right front knob. This one feels right off the get-go, so we don't need to adjust it. Press M, and it will move to the next position. This knob, on the contrary, is a lot less friction than we would want. So go to the knob, directly underneath the extruder, tighten it just slightly. I would say that this amount of friction is sufficient. Once completed, press the M. Now it's just going to go back through and make sure that everything has maintained its optimum friction. That one is fine. Go to M. Let's check the second one. Seems that this one's loosened a bit. Tighten it just slightly. The second time around, you don't want to do any huge maneuvers because it could take the rest of them off balance. Lastly, after straightening our paper, we check the third position. It's lost a bit of friction as well. Minor tightening is in order. And now it's checking the center. Have we maintained a good amount of friction? Seems we should loosen it just a bit there. And we should be good. The leveling process is now complete. We can now prepare the platform for a print job. Occasionally, it's necessary to replace the tape that is placed on the build platform. Since this tape is a recent job, it is unnecessary right now. So what we will do is apply glue stick. Apply the glue stick to the area that you suspect your job will take. If you're not confident of how big your object will be, apply it all over the platform in a thin layer. Glue stick and the tape are to facilitate a good print job by disallowing warping. Warping can occur when the object does not adhere to the bottom and it starts to move upwards as the print continues. Now that the glue stick is applied and the tape is sufficient, we can begin by sending a job to the printer. We can now begin to load our object to the 3D printer. To load objects into the MakerBot Replicator 2X, we use a software referred to as MakerBot Desktop, which can be found in the Start menu. You will see that it's the one with the red icon. Now that MakerBot Desktop has loaded, we can load our objects into the program. To load an object into the program, go to the File menu in the top left-hand corner and click Open. More than likely, when you click Open, you'll be redirected to a 3D drive that links you to all the builds and STL files in our lab. However, if you've brought your own removable disk, you can find it on the left-hand side. If you've downloaded an object from the website Thingiverse, then your object will automatically save to the 3D drive. Today, I will be loading an object called Stretchlet. We have now loaded our object onto the platform. However, many print jobs do not come automatically prepared to be printed exactly as you wish them to. To adjust your settings on your print job, you are given 5 icons on the left-hand side of the screen. The first icon, which is currently highlighted in red, is a viewing icon. With this icon highlighted, you can pan around the screen to view your object, and using the middle mouse button, you can zoom in and out. To move your object around on the platform, you can click the second icon on the left-hand side of the screen. This only allows you to click and drag your object around the platform. If you wish to rotate your object, you click the third icon on the left-hand side of the screen. And by clicking the object, you can choose the angle that you would wish to rotate it. The fourth icon on the left-hand side of the screen allows you to change and alter the dimensions of your object. Make sure that your object is selected when you click the fourth icon, and then make sure to re-click the fourth icon to open up your screen. You can make objects bigger and smaller, wider and taller. You can also use a percentage and scale it by that. You are also given the option to adjust your unit of measurement, take your object to maximum size, and reset your scaling job. I will reset my scaling job now. The object is now back to its original dimensions from loading it into the software. The fifth icon on the left-hand side of the screen gives you information on your print job. As you can see in the object information, we are currently preparing a print job called Stretchlet, and it will be printed out of the right extruder. The coloration is not necessarily important under the information screen, as it only pertains to what you have put into the presettings. Even though it says that the right extruder is red, it does not mean that our filament will come out red. The color of your extruder preset can be changed in the Settings tab, but it is unnecessary for a single extrusion job to do so. We can now begin to adjust the primary settings of our object. To access those settings, go to the top right-hand side of the screen and click Settings. We are now in the Settings screen. In the screen, we can adjust the settings for a left extruder and our right extruder, which is the only extruder that we will be using for this job. Out of our right extruder, we will be using MakerBot ABS plastic, which stands for acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. Alternative plastics cannot be used on this particular printer. Some print jobs necessitate the use of rafts and supports. A raft is a platform of plastic that the object is printed upon before the primary object is printed. And supports are used for objects with overhang. Since our object has neither of those things, these settings can be put to off, as they are currently. At the bottom of our notification screen, you can see that we can adjust qualities. We are given 3 options to adjust our quality of print. First is infill. Currently, we have our object set to 10% infill. The higher the infill, the stronger the object is, but also the more plastic that it contains and the heavier it will be. Choose your infill wisely. More infill means more time on a print job. The second option is the number of shells. Like the infill, it affects the durability of the object, and maximum number of shells is not necessary. Lastly, we have the layer height. Currently, our layer height is set to 0.2 millimeters. If you would like an object with more definition, say an object with a face or lettering, you will want a lower millimeterage on your layer height. For this object, we will use the defaults that come with the program. As you can see, no adjustments were made from the defaults, so the object came preset with defaults already enabled. Now our job is ready to be sent to the printer. Press Save Settings and then go to the right hand of the corner to the white highlighted button and press print. Our print job must be loaded into the printer, which takes a small amount of time. In this box, we can see how long the print job will take, the filament that's being used, the resolution related to the layer height, the usage of rafts and supports, and the option to view a print preview. While for this job it is a fairly straightforward print, sometimes it is necessary to analyze just how the job will be printed once it's sent to the printer. Let's look at the print preview for this particular object. Once opening the print preview screen, you see the object in its fully printed form. If you go to the left-hand side of the print preview screen and pull down the button, you will see the object reduced layer by layer. Moving up, you can see exactly how the printer will place plastic onto the object until it is complete. If you see no errors with the print preview, click Close and begin printing by pressing Start Print. Our object is now being sent to the printer. As you can see at the bottom, it's being verified, and then the bed must preheat if it's not done in advance. The platform is currently being prepared, as well as the extruder head for the print job. Although the platform will heat itself, sometimes it is useful to preheat ahead of time, and the preheat button can be found in the main menu. In a matter of minutes, our job will begin. Okay, stop.